In a world chasing fleeting sparks of inspiration, there was a young man named Ethan. He dreamed of a life filled with purpose and success, a life he could see so clearly in his mind. But it waited. He waited for motivation to strike, like lightning from a clear sky. When it came, it was a glorious storm. He would work for hours, sometimes days, filled with an electric energy that made anything seem possible. But just as quickly as it arrived, the storm would pass. The energy would fade, leaving behind a quiet stillness, a void filled with frustration and self-doubt. Why couldn't he sustain it? Why did the fire always burn out, leaving him with nothing but ash? One day, his friend Ben, who had watched Ethan's cycle of hope and despair, offered a different path. It wasn't a path of grand gestures or sudden bursts of passion. It was a quieter road, one built not on feeling, but on commitment. It was the path of discipline. To show him, Ben took Ethan to the coast, to meet an old fisherman whose hands told stories of 1,000 sunrises. His boat, weathered and strong, was a testament to years of steady work. They found him mending his nets, his movements deliberate and calm, a rhythm honed by a lifetime of routine. The fisherman listened to Ethan's struggles, his gaze as steady as the distant horizon. He then gestured to the small fire crackling beside them, its warmth pushing back the cool sea air. "Motivation," he said, "is like a flash of lightning. It illuminates the entire sky for a moment, brilliant and breathtaking. You feel its power, its immense potential, but it is gone in an instant." "Discipline," he continued, pointing to the steady flames. "Is this fire?" "It does not rage. It does not demand attention. It simply burns consistently, providing light and warmth day after day, night after night. It is not about feeling ready. It is about showing up, especially when you don't. It is about your promise to yourself." He then told them the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. For the first 4 years after it is planted, nothing is visible above the ground. A farmer must water and nurture the soil every single day, with no visible reward. It is an act of pure faith, of unwavering discipline. Many would give up, convinced their efforts were wasted. But something profound is happening beneath the surface. An intricate and powerful root system is spreading, building a foundation strong enough to support what is to come. Then, in the 5th year, the bamboo tree explodes from the earth, growing up to 90 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Did it grow that high in 6 weeks? Or did it grow that high in 5 years? The answer is obvious. The unseen work, the daily discipline, was what made the extraordinary growth possible. Ethan listened, and for the first time, understood. He had been trying to grow his own bamboo tree in a single season. He was chasing the flash of lightning, ignoring the steady, life-giving fire. He had been seeking results without building the foundation. The fisherman's simple wisdom settled deep within him. It wasn't about a grand, dramatic change. It was about a quiet, internal shift. It was about choosing responsibility over fleeting emotion. The journey back from the coast was silent. The sea, the sky, the very air seemed different. Ethan was no longer looking for a sign from the world. He was looking for a commitment from within. The next morning, the world was still dark when his alarm rang. The familiar pool of comfort, of sleep, was strong. The old Ethan would have hit snooze, waiting for a feeling of motivation that would never come. But a new resolve had taken root. He thought of the fisherman. He thought of the bamboo tree. He swung his legs out of bed. It wasn't easy. His body felt heavy, his mind foggy. Paredet Italiano. He put on his running shoes and stepped out into the cool Predon air. That first run was not glorious. It was a struggle. But when he returned home, a quiet sense of victory washed over him. He had kept a promise to himself. This was the beginning. He started a simple routine: wake up early, read for 30 minutes, work on his most important task for 1 hour, without distraction. Some days were harder than others. There were mornings when every fiber of his being screamed to stay in bed, to put it off until tomorrow. On those days, he heard the fisherman's voice. Discipline is the fire that you tend. He would get up and add another piece of wood to that fire, no matter how small. He stopped measuring his days by how much he felt like doing, and started measuring them by what he did. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The changes were not dramatic. There was no single moment of breakthrough. It was a slow, gradual transformation, happening just beneath the surface. His work began to improve, not in leaps and bounds, but with a steady, rising quality. People started to notice. His boss commented on his newfound reliability. His friends saw a new calmness in his eyes, a quiet confidence that wasn't there before. He was no longer the man who talked about his dreams. He was the man who was building them, brick by steady brick. His identity began to shift. He no longer saw himself as someone who needed to be inspired to act. He was a man of discipline, a man who honored his word, especially the word he gave to himself. The routines that once felt like a burden now felt like a foundation. They were the rails on which his life ran smoothly, freeing up his mind to be more creative, more present, more alive. He realized that discipline was not a cage. It was the key that unlocked true freedom. Freedom from the whims of emotion, freedom from the tyranny of procrastination, freedom from the self-doubt that had plagued him for so long. Years passed. Ethan became a man respected not for his flashes of brilliance, but for his unwavering consistency. He had built the life he once only dreamed of. It was not born from a single moment of motivation, but from 1,000 small, disciplined mornings. His success was not an accident. It was the inevitable harvest of seeds he had sown day after day, in sun and in rain. He had become his own fisherman, tending to the nets of his life with care and intention. He had become his own bamboo tree, with roots so deep that he could withstand any storm. His life became a testament to a simple, powerful truth. Motivation is the spark that starts the engine, but discipline is what drives you to your destination. Motivation is the wave that crashes on the shore, but discipline is the tide that shapes the entire coastline. Do not wait for the perfect feeling. Do not rely on a mood that comes and goes like the wind. Build your routine. Honor your schedule. Do the work, especially when you don't feel like it, because it is in those moments of resistance, when you choose action over apathy, that you build character. It is the small, disciplined acts, repeated every single day, that compound over time to create an extraordinary life. Build your fire, tend to it daily, and it will provide the light and warmth for the rest of your journey. Thank you for watching.